Man, I be forgetting how I rap sometimes, bro. I was walking in the gas station, shorty just ran up on me, asking me for a picture. I almost popped the shit out of this little ass. I ain't know what he was on, dog.
Cry baby ass nigga. Oh, black tea. Oh, yeah. Man, like nothing. He's right one out the beam. Cry baby ass nigga. Let me see. Let me see that bitch right quick. Let me see that bitch right quick. Damn. You got the tune. Well, let me see. First I clears on the odds and walk through his watch. Damn. Oh, I don't know, big dog. Yeah. Like this one day. Hey, slow down, slow down. Slow down, slow down.
Big OP's name has become attached to some of Chicago's most serious street conflicts, from a revenge killing that allegedly took 9 years to execute, to internal splits within his own circle, to newer tension with Bloodhound affiliates. The list of crews and individuals he's found himself at odds with keeps growing. Here's every major beef connected to Big OP, broken down from the beginning. The foundation of everything starts with the long-running rivalry between No Limit and KTS, Kill to Survive. As No Limit expanded, they allied with the Muskegon Boys, who eventually became part of the Nlembab Circle. That growth strengthened their presence on the south side, but also deepened existing rivalries, particularly with Lakeside and its closely connected crew, KTS. Despite being smaller in numbers, KTS built a reputation as one of the most aggressive and fearless groups in the area, willing to go at crews significantly larger than themselves. The tension between these sides would define a lot of what came after. One of KTS's most respected members was G. Fazo, killed in 2010 under circumstances that became deeply debated, rumors pointing to someone within his own circle rather than an op. His name lived on through the culture, with G. Herbo dedicating his debut mixtape to him years later. But Fazo's death didn't cool the conflict. If anything, it added to the weight that the beef carried on both sides going forward. Big OP's own connection to that beef became deeply personal. His father, Randall Cummins, known in the streets as Boss Blizz or Lil Black, was affiliated with the Money Mafia Nell MBB circle and was already embedded in that generational conflict long before Big OP was old enough to understand it. On June 3, 2011, Boss Blizz was gunned down, allegedly shot 14 times. According to rumors that circulated widely in the community, the killing was connected to Rio from Pocket Town, a KTS affiliate. Big OP was young when his father died. He grew up in that reality, and, according to what spread online, he didn't let it go. 9 years later, on July 12, 2020, Rio was sitting in a car at a gas station on the 7,000 block of South Diamond Avenue when a silver SUV pulled up. According to reports, 3 people inside the vehicle opened fire, striking Rio multiple times. He was rushed to the hospital but didn't survive. Online immediately, Big OP's name started circulating in connection with what happened, along with names like No Limit Cairo and Lil Loss. Nothing was ever officially charged, but the streets connected the dots based on the history and the timing. Rio's death didn't end the conflict with KTS, it intensified it. KTS Dre and his brother KTS Vaughn were among the most visible faces of that retaliation era, and what they did to escalate things became one of the more talked about moments of that period. Dre and Vaughn filmed themselves walking through Nlmb territory, openly taunting anyone who might see them, broadcasting the slide for the internet to watch. During that same stretch, they tracked down No Limit Cairo at a McDonald's and physically confronted him in a highly public way that got recorded and posted online. The footage spread everywhere and added more fuel to an already burning situation. KTS Vaughn was murdered less than 24 hours after he'd been openly threatening NUMB members online. Allegedly shot multiple times, including in the chest and head, after gunmen in an SUV opened fire on him. After the news broke, Choa from NLMB went live and rapped altered versions of Vaughn's own lyrics back at him, mocking his death publicly in one of the more brazen responses to come out of that era. KTS Dre became the next central figure in the crosshairs. While he was on house arrest, he went live multiple times and directly dared his opposition to come for him, telling fans who warned him to leave Chicago that he wasn't going anywhere and that if they wanted to get him, they should come do it. He also dismissed the McDonald's confrontation footage entirely on a live stream, acting like he didn't even know who Cairo was. In 2021, Dre was arrested, then later released. According to reports, shortly after leaving Cook County Jail and while making his way home, a vehicle pulled up and two masked individuals opened fire. He was struck approximately 64 times and died on the scene. Big OP's name circulated online in connection with what happened, as did others from the NLM circle, though these remain unproven allegations with no official charges filed. The second major conflict in Big OP's story is more recent and more internal. Shorty Mob emerged around 2021 to 2022 under Twino, and Big OP was once part of that same tight circle. Described by people who followed the scene as part of a Big Three, with Twino and others during their earlier years. They came up together in the Muskegon Boys/No Limit areas. But the split happened. After J-Dog's death, things shifted. Shorty Mob members, most notably Baby Splat, sided heavily with J-Dog and began pulling away from Big OP. Rumors suggested there were bad feelings toward Big OP surrounding J-Dog's situation specifically, and Shorty Mob made it clear through their online behavior that they were riding for that side rather than keeping the original circle together. Big OP addressed the tension directly on live, asking out loud who actually wanted to get into it with him, and pushing back on what he saw as people using his name without being willing to back it up. He made it clear he wasn't going to let that stand. Bloodhound Q50 entered the picture through his closeness to Baby Splat. Q50 reportedly aligned himself publicly with Shorty Mob and directed sneak disses at Big OP, signaling whose side he was on in the internal dispute. Some people who follow the situation also pointed to Big OP going live alongside members of risky bands as something that contributed to the fallout with Q50's circle. In street culture, being on live with people seen as ops communicates a lot about where your loyalties actually are. The current state of things between Big OP, Baby Splat, and Q50 is an active, simmering tension that hasn't fully played out yet, but is being watched closely. The third conflict connecting Big OP is with J Boogie, who is Lil Jeff's brother. The origins of the tension trace back to a business situation. Reportedly, Mineski from No Limit had an issue with J Boogie over a failed deal where Boogie was allegedly looking to sign, and it didn't come through. When J Boogie then began posting about Lil Scoo and making online moves that NLMB members saw as disrespectful, Big OP responded publicly, calling him out for posting people he'd never met and accusing him of clout chasing. Mineski added his own response, mocking J Boogie publicly and pointing out that he'd signed Lil Jeff, J Boogie's own brother, and helped put him on, questioning why J Boogie was moving the way he was when his family had been properly taken care of. The back and forth escalated enough that J Boogie eventually unfollowed Big OP on social media, which in this world carries its own signal about where things stand between two people. What makes the J Boogie situation particularly interesting is that it exists alongside a different layer of context. Video had circulated publicly showing J Boogie and Big OP together with Lil Speedy, which suggests that at some point, the relationship between them was cordial enough to be on the same record together. Whether that video reflects an older dynamic that's since deteriorated, or whether it signals a potential de-escalation ahead, remains an open question. As of now, the beef hasn't reached the level of physical violence that the KTS situation did, and people who follow the Chicago drill scene closely are watching to see whether it stays contained to social media or develops into something more serious. Taken all together, what the arc of Big OP's conflicts shows is a person who entered the street world through a deeply personal loss and built a reputation through the years that followed, accumulating rivalries on multiple fronts, generational enemies inherited from the Nullibias Cortes Wars, newer internal tensions born from loyalty disputes and money, and a more recent online conflict connected to the Bloodhound world. Each layer adds more to a name that keeps surfacing in Chicago's ongoing street narrative, regardless of how much time passes. Drop a comment. Which of these beefs do you think is the most dangerous for Big OP right now?